Vishnu Padai Krishna Vastaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswata Deve Gaurvanya Pacharini Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paskachai Desatarani. This morning we will discuss Nectar of Instruction, text 9, that in this verse, Rupa Goswami describes different places in the transcendental realm, higher and higher places in the spiritual world. That so we will read the verse and the translation and the purport. Purport of these last verses is shorter than the previous verses. That so I read first the Sanskrit. Vaikunta Chanita Paramadupurita Trapirarut Savat Vrindaranya Mudari Pani Ramana Tatrapiko Vardana Radha Kundamya Gokula Pate Premamrita Plavanat Goya Asya Vrachato Giritate Sevam Vivekikana Vivekinaka. Translation. The holy place known as Mathura is spiritually superior to Vaikuntha, the transcendental world, because the Lord appeared there. Superior to Mathura Puri is the transcendental forest of Vrindavan because of Krishna's Rasa Lila pastimes. And superior to the forest of Vrindavan is Govardhan Hill, for it is raised by the divine hand of Sri Krishna and was the site of his various loving pastimes. And above all, the super excellent Sri Radhakund stands supreme, for it is overflowed with the ambrosial nectarian prema of the Lord of Gokul, Sri Krishna. Where then is that intelligent person who is unwilling to serve this divine Radhakund, which is situated at the foot of Govardhan Hill? The purport by Srila Prabhupada, based on Rupa Goswami's Nectar of Devotion. Based on Rupa Goswami's Nectar of Instruction. The spiritual world is 3/4 of the creation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and is the most exalted region. The spiritual world is not really superior to the material world, however, Mathura and adjoining areas, although appearing in the material world, are considered superior to the spiritual world because the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself appeared at Mathura. The interior forests of Vrindavan are considered superior to Mathura because of the presence of the 12 forests, Dvadasavana, such as Talavan, Madhudvan, and Baulavan, which are famous for the various pastimes of the Lord. Thus, the interior Vrindavan forest is considered superior to Mathura, but superior to these forests is the divine Govardhan Hill, because Krishna lifted Govardhan Hill like an umbrella, raising it with his lotus-like beautiful hand to protect his associates, the denizens of Raj, from the torrential rain sent by the angry Indra, king of the demigods. It is also at Govardhan Hill that Krishna tends the cows with his cowherd friends, and there also he had his rendezvous with his most beloved Shri Radha, and engaged in loving pastimes with her. Radha Kunda at the foot of Govardhan is superior to all because it is there that love of Krishna overflows. Advanced devotees prefer to reside at Radhakund because this place is the site of many memories of the eternal loving affairs between Radha and Krishna, Rati Vilas. In Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, it is stated that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu first visited the area of Vrajabhumi. He could not at first find the location of Radhakund. This means that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was actually searching for the exact location of Radhakund. Finally, he found the holy spot, and there was a small pond there. He took his bath in that small pond and told his devotees that the actual Radhakund was situated there. Later, the pond was excavated by Lord Chaitanya's devotees, headed by the 6 Goswamis, such as Rupa and Raghunath Das. Presently, there is a large lake known as Radhakund there. Srila Prabhupada has given much stress to Radhakund because of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's desire to find it. Who then would give up Radhakund and try to reside elsewhere? No person with transcendental intelligence would do so. The importance of Radhakund, however, cannot be realized by other Vaishnava Sampradayas, nor can persons uninterested in the devotional service of Lord Chaitanya understand the spiritual importance and the divine nature of Radhakund. This Radhakund is mainly worshipped by the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, the followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So here Rupa Goswami is pointing out these different holy places and each place is a place of more intense love to Krishna. So we have important in Krishna consciousness is a conscious of Krishna. But this consciousness of Krishna can have different levels of intensity. So when we start to practice Krishna conscious, it goes to a progression of elevation of consciousness. And this consciousness this elevation of consciousness is described in Bhagavad Gita, but also Sanatana Goswami in his Brihad Bhagavatamrita as a story of Gopkumar. Gopkumar who goes always to realms with higher and higher consciousness until he gets into the spiritual realm. And the beginning of the spiritual realm is described here in this verse. So I will try to give a summary of the story of Gopkumar. There are 2 stories in Brihad Bhagavatamrita. One story is Narada Muni is searching for the most elevated devotee. That we will discuss in the next verse of Nectar Instruction. But the story of Gopkumar is a very interesting story for us. It shows us the process of elevation of consciousness. It starts with Gopkumar. He's living in the worldly Vrindavan, in the earthly Vrindavan, I mean. Of course, Vrindavan is never worldly, but he was living there, and he was a cowherd boy, Gopkumar. And one day he was herding the cows, and he met a person laughing and smiling that it was a person who was in blissful spiritual consciousness. He was always laughing, smiling. And this person gave Gop Kumar a mantra that he said, I'm giving you this mantra, which is the Gopal mantra, known as the Gopal mantra. And he said, and the man said that by chanting this mantra, all your desires will be fulfilled. So it's he started to chant this mantra, and first he became attached to the chanting of this mantra, and he got taste for chanting this mantra. And when he was chanting this mantra, he was losing the taste for everything else in this world. So one day he left Vrindavan. Then at a certain moment, he came at the Ganga, or the Holy River, and he saw a Brahmin worshipping the Saligam Shila, worshipping the Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And after the worship, the Brahmin put the Saligam Shila in a box. And Gop Kumar felt very bad, the Supreme Lord putting in a box but he saw this Brahma was worshiping the Supreme Personality of Godhead very nicely. But the Brahma said, I'm just a simple Brahman and worship not the Saligam Shila out of love. I don't have love. I do it out of duty. But you please go to King and in South India. So Gop Kumar went to South India, seeing this king, and there he found a gorgeous temple, and the Supreme Lord was worshipped in the form of a deity with great opulence, and Gop Kumar felt very blissful there, and he just stayed there, that attached to the daily worship, and he got nice prasad, and so I stayed over there for a long time. But one day, the king died. The king died, and they did not have a successor, and the Brahmins were looking for someone with the qualities of a king. And they came to Gop Kumar, and they saw all auspicious signs in him, and so Gop Kumar became the king. He continued worshipping the Lord in the same grand way. But then, after some time, he heard about the glories of Purushottam Kshetra, Jagannath Puri. And that he went to Jagannath Puri and worshipping Lord Jagannath. They were worshipping Lord Jagannath in great opulence, giving him 64 offerings a day. But he became a little disturbed there because they were distributing so much prasadam, and many prasadam was thrown away, lost, and he was thinking they don't understand the transcendental mercy of the Lord. But Gop Kumar continued chanting his Gopal mantra and stayed there every day looking at Jagannath. And one day the king died. so then when the king died, the son did not want to become the king. And they found Gopkumar and asked him to be the king. So he was for some time the king of Jagannath Puri. But then he was hearing that about, one day he met his spiritual master who gave him the Gopal mantra. And then he instructed in more detail how to chant this mantra, in what mood. And then by chanting, one day he was transported to the chanting of this Gopal mantra to the heavenly planets, and he saw the worship, how Indra was worshipping the Lord in a very grand way. And Gopkumar felt very blissful there. Interesting, he could go there in the same body as a cowboy. So they were worshipping the Lord in a very grand way. He was staying there. But one day, Indra disappeared. He disappeared because of a curse of a Brahmin against him. So he was in the heavenly planets, and then, of course, the spiritual master of Indra is Brihaspati. And Indra disappeared, so Brihaspati selected Gopkumar to become Indra. So Gopkumar was Indra for some time, but he felt, I'm not interested in enjoyment. Because he was chanting the Gopal mantra, the holy names of the Lord, he had no attraction for material enjoyment. So he did not stay in the palace. It was, his only concern was to promote Krishna consciousness. But one day, when he was in Indraloka, so in the heavenly planets, he saw some brilliant personalities and was thinking, who are they? And he asked Brihaspati, who are they? And Brihaspati told him, these are sages from the higher planetary systems, from Marloka, the highest planetary systems in this world. The sages performed sacrifices. These sages were performing great sacrifices in Marloka, and Gopkumar wanted to see them. So, because through the sacrifices, the Lord appeared in the sacrifice, and they had a direct relationship with the Lord. They could see him. So then he was chanting his Gopal mantra, and he was elevated to Marloka and started to associate with the sages. So he observed the sacrificial fires from which the Lord appeared. But he stayed there for some time, but at a certain moment, the place Marloka, it became very hot there. So hot you could not live there. So he asked the sages what's happening. And the sages said that this is the pralaya. The lower planetary systems have been destroyed. And the heat from that destruction is coming up to Marloka. So all the sages and also Gopkumar, they left Marloka and went to the next planetary system, Janaloka. And in Janaloka, there Gopkumar get to know the 4 Kumaras. And he went, because he went with the 4 to the 4 Kumaras, because from Janaloka he went to Tapaloka, and there the 4 Kumaras were living. And he saw these 4 Kumaras were absorbed in meditation, and he could see that through their meditation the Lord appeared to them, and he could see the Lord manifest himself as the super soul. So this is the destinations of those who perform yoga, Sankhya, then Vairagya, and tapas, austerity. So, but he stayed there, he continued to chant his Gopal mantra, but he got to know beyond that there is the abode of Brahma, Satyaloka. So he went to Satyaloka. And when he was with Brahma, Brahma playfully touched the water of the Garbhodoka ocean, and as a result, a demon appeared. And Brahma, being afraid from the demon, he ran away. So the universe was devoid of Brahma. So they appointed Gopkumar as Brahma. He became Brahma. So Gopkumar started to control the affairs of the entire universe. But he was doing everything with utmost devotion to the Lord. His only concern was to serve the Lord, and he did not have any other consideration for sense gratification. But one day he saw again his spiritual master there, and his spiritual master instructed him, you go back to Vrindavan and continue to meditate on the Lord through the mantra. So Gopkumar went back to the earthly Vrindavan. And in this way, so many, of course, all this journey he went through, so many kalpas, and thousands and thousands or millions of years passed. So when he came to the earth was completely different. But Vrindavan, that was the same as, it did not change at all. So the same day he left, he went to Vrindavan, but in Vrindavan, none of his friends, people who knew, they were there anymore. So Gopkumar went on chanting the mantra in Vrindavan, and one day he found himself into a spaceship. And it went so quick, it passed all the places where he stayed before. That means the heavenly planets, Indraloka, Maraloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, Satyaloka, and I saw them passing, and it disappeared from his view. And then he went to the coverings of the universe. The first covering was Earth, and the Earth in that covering was worshipping the Lord as Varadev, because Varadev has lifted the Earth from the Garbhodoka ocean. Then he went to the next level, the layer of water. There was the water god worshipping the Lord as Kurmadev. So then he came to the layer of fire. So he went to all these layers. And each of these places were very opulent. And each place successively was 10 times more opulent than the previous place. And then finally, yeah, he got that. Then finally in the next level there was the Lord was worshipped as Aniruddha, and then in the next level Pradyumna, and then the last level, the false ego level, the Lord was being worshipped as Sankarshan. But then, when he came at the outer layer, the layer of Maya, then he found Mahamaya there, worshipping the Lord. Mahamaya was worshipping the Lord in his form as Muini Murti. And then Maya asked Gopkumar, why are you leaving? Stay here and enjoy with me. So Gopkumar offered his obeisance to Maya and told her that I'm sorry, I want to serve your brother. That so you have Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra. There's two brothers there, Balaram and Krishna. So he said, I want to serve your brother. And he wanted her blessings. And she blessed him. And then he went out of the material world and entered the Brahmajyoti. And in the Brahmajyoti first, he didn't see anything. It was all blinding. But then gradually, he heard something, and then he saw a fierce personality on a bull riding with many followers, and they were chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. And this was Sadashiva. Sadashiva is a source of all Shivas in other universes, but he's transcendental. He is an Vishnu Tattva, where the Shivas in all the universe are Shiva Tattva. Shiva Tattva, they are in contact with the material energy, but Sadashiva is not in contact. He's the source of all of them. And so Gopkumar felt very blissful in the Brahmajyoti. There's no suffering, only bliss, pure bliss. And he asked, Lord Shiva, why are you chanting, doing Harinam in the Brahmajyoti? And Lord Shiva said, we are doing Harinam in the Brahmajyoti to liberate all these impersonalists who are merged with the Brahmajyoti. But then he stayed there with Lord Shiva, but he was thinking, in my heart, he was yearning for Krishna in his Gopal form. He could not stay. So and then he went to Vaikuntha. He came at the gate of Vaikuntha, and he saw someone on a cart coming, a Narayan form with 4 arms. And immediately, Gopkumar started to praise that personality as the Supreme Personality of Godhead Narayan. But of course, the man was conducting, guiding his cart with his 2 hands, and with the other hands, he put his hands on his ears, and I said, no, I'm not the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I'm his servant. But then he entered Vaikuntha planets. And he saw in the Vaikuntha planets, the Lord is worshipped in great opulence there, in honor reference as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as the Personality of Godhead. But there is enough of him there, of Vaikuntha looked at him a bit strange. He said, why don't you accept the four-armed form of the residence of Vaikuntha? Why this cowboy boy? So one day, the Lord of Vaikuntha, he knew the heart of Gopkumar. He took the form of Krishna just to please the Gopkumar. And Gopkumar started to shout, Gopal, Gopal, and started to jump. And all the residents of Vrindavan, they said, oh, cool down. We are not worshipping the Lord like this here. It's all official that in our reference that. But then after that, Gopkumar visited different other planets, Vaikuntha planets. He went first to Ayodhya, the planet of Lord Ram. And then from there, he visited many places, but also he went to Dwarka. Just described in this verse of Nectar of Instruction as Mathura. It is superior to Vaikuntha, it is said. Because in Dwarka, they have more intense love than in the other Vaikuntha planets. Because in Dwarka, the Pandavas are there, and Krishna, and all the queens, which is conjugal love. But the queens know Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But then when I was in Dwarka, and his heart was still not satisfied. Because in Dwarka, in Krishna, with his 16,108 queens, sometimes in the night he was talking loudly, dreaming, and in his dream he was speaking about the gopis, the residents of Vrindavan. So Krishna's heart, he was in Dwarka, but still his heart is in Vrindavan. And understanding that the residents of Dwarka arranged with Vishvakarma to build to build a second Vrindavan in Dwarka. But Vishvakarma built it, but the cows were there, but they were statues, and also Mother Yasoda was there as a statue. And one morning, so Krishna entered that place, and he started to talk to Mother Yasoda and the cowherd boys, but they didn't reply. But anyway, that's an interesting pastime. Krishna's heart is in Vrindavan. But also, Gopkumar felt not satisfied in Dwarka, because he was yearning to see the Lord as a cowherd boy. Then the spiritual master appeared and said, you have to go back to the earthly Vrindavan. So he went back to the earthly Vrindavan, and there he continued to chant the Gopal mantra. And he was running to the 12th forest of Vrindavan, and One day he saw Krishna in the forest, but he was running away, and he was following him, tried to follow him, and he was running. Gop Kumar came at the Yamuna, and he fell into the Yamuna. He lost his consciousness, fell into the Yamuna. And the next moment, he was in a spiritual viman, and he was on his way to Vaikuntha, but this time he passed all the Vaikuntha planets, and he entered the highest planet of the spiritual world, Goloka Vrindavan. So from Vaikuntha, you cannot go directly to Goloka Vrindavan. You have to go to the earthly Vrindavan. And he was entering Goloka Vrindavan. And when he entered, he saw some coward girls, gopis, and he tried to get their attention, but it was like they did not see him. He tried to say, oh, but they didn't reply, like he was not there. Because it was during the day and Krishna was out for herding the cows in Goloka Vrindavan. And then Krishna, because in the morning Krishna had left for the forest, and the gopis were following him, and the coward boys in the bushes, and were looking at Krishna from the corners of their eyes. But then Krishna left, but he took away their mind. Their mind was so attached to Krishna. They could not think of anything else, and they didn't see Gop Kumar. So Gop Kumar was thinking, I want to go to the palace of Nanda Maharaj, but nobody shows me the way. Nobody to ask him. But when he arrived in Goloka Vrindavan, he felt this atmosphere is very different than anything I experienced before. It's impregnated by devotion for Krishna. So blissful. But then Purnamasi, an elder gopi, saw him and had compassion of him and showed him to the house of Nanda Maharaj. Then Gop Kumar came before the house of Nanda Maharaj. And what he saw there was something very bizarre. He saw Nanda Maharaj, Mother Yasoda, and elder Gopas standing outside the palace, and they were looking to the horizon. They were standing there like statues. He was going to them, but he could not contact them. They were completely absorbed. Their sight was fixed on the horizon. And he was looking at the horizon. And then at a certain moment, he saw all over the horizon like dust clouds coming. And then after that, a few moments later, he started to see cows. Millions of cows were coming. Thousands of cows. And in front of the cows, he saw then Krishna. And in front of the coward boys, in front of the cows, there were coward boys, so many coward boys. And then he saw Krishna. And he started to run towards Krishna. And Krishna started to run towards him. Then finally, when they met, they embraced each other. And Krishna said to Gop Kumar, Swarup, where have you been all this time? I missed you so much. And Krishna, out of love for his devotee, fell on the ground. So some cowboys and some gopis were thinking, oh, this is maybe is a devotee, is a demon in disguise. Maybe it's an agent of Kamsa, some gopis said. But then Balaram came and saw what happened. And he asked all the devotees, all the coward boys, to chant Krishna's name in Krishna's ears. And then Krishna woke up. So this is the story of Gop Kumar. Every experience, he was going to higher consciousness until he reached spiritual consciousness. And then he entered Vaikuntha, and then he went to Mathura, Dvarka. And then after that, he went to Goloka Vrindavan. And here, this first mentioned higher than, the highest in Vrindavan is Govardhan Hill, and even higher is Radha Kund. Because that's pure love of Krishna, that's the highest consciousness. So in the purport, it is discussed how the six Goswamis, under the guidance of Lord Chaitanya, excavated Radha Kund, Shyama Kund, and restored it in his glories. But it was Lord Chaitanya who found Radha Kund. So we have heard about the material world and the spiritual world. The spiritual world is 3/4 of all the creation. What do we learn here? Our consciousness is what matters. We have to elevate our consciousness to the highest consciousness, spiritual consciousness. And then we become blissful. All this lower consciousness, lower than Krishna consciousness, it's materially affected consciousness. And we see that even Gopkamara went to Brahma Loka, and Brahma became afraid of material consciousness. He was fleeing for a demon. So then he went to the Brahma Jyoti, and there, after passing Maya, he was free from all these encumberments. But still, the heart was not satisfied because the heart found service. So he went to Vaikuntha, and there they were serving. That's the transcendental mood. That's after liberation. They were pure devotees, but we are levels of pure devotees. And that is explained in this verse. More intense love and more intense love for Krishna. So in spiritual love, in which one is conscious that the Lord is the Supreme Lord, the source of everything, it's imbued with awe and reverence. And it's not so intense. It's not the most intense love. More intense love is seeing Krishna as your friend, or as your son, or as your lover. This is the mode of Golok, and the highest love is the love in conjugal love. But even in that conjugal love, there's a gradation. And Srimad Radharani is in Mahabhav, that It's the highest love, highest prema. And that is experienced by the devotees in Govardhan, in Radhakund. So therefore, it is our business to safeguard our consciousness and connect everything with Krishna, whatever we do. See Krishna in your mind. See Krishna in the external world. He is there. But due to Maya, we cannot experience with our senses. But He's there. And by spiritual strength, we will start to see Him. Premanshana Charita Bhakti Vilochan. When your eyes are smeared with this higher consciousness, spiritual love, you will see Krishna everywhere and enter the absolute reality. Vidyavanaya Sampane Brahmana Kavanasti Nishin Shevsha Bhagaja Pandita Damakstantasa Pandita Samadakshana. One sees Krishna, the super soul, and the soul in every living being. So this is the highest achievement. Any comments or questions, please?
Just a comment, Maharaj, very nicely explained. So thank you very much for sharing the whole Brad Bhagavatam.
Yeah, it's a part of it.
Yes, ma'am.
It's Gurumaj's favorite book.
Yes.
Good. Then tomorrow we will discuss Srimad Bhagavatam 1:1847. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna, Jai Prabhupada.
Jai Prabhupada.